Alright, so I'm not really up to getting into everything. I did a video today exposing quite a bit, and I had like 15 warnings from Facebook of suspicious activity and saying it was violating community standards. I, of course, appealed their decision, whatever you want to call it. And then apparently the video might be working at the moment. I've learned that I can't even explain what's going on without completely everything being regulated. I mean, major censorship. I really have no control over my exposure right now or my contacting the FBI and your worries. And I made a decision, a hard decision today to go expose a 911 call that was made a couple of days before Christmas at about, I don't know, 1 a.m., maybe midnight, where I was hiding in terror, absolute terror. You can hear my voice. I'm, beyond shaken up, crying, everything else. I ended up deathly ill after it. I've been very sick since, where I was hiding on about 2 acres of, pretty much raw land. I mean, sure, there's places to live out here, but it's pretty scary at night, pretty dark. So dark that the police actually have only come in here once. They've always told me to meet them outside. Look, I'm a city girl. I'm not used to this country stuff, and it's not to my liking. But I was hiding and terrified, terrified. And I just sent proof to about 5 people that I trust that this conversation lasted almost 10 minutes, where by then I would have been dead as a doornail, where I heard someone on the property. Now we see that we're missing a mattress and other things that were stored outside. And whether it was a homeless person or it doesn't matter who it was, the point is it was scary. If it's one of the people targeting me, harassing me daily, terrorizing me daily, that has already been reported to the police and FBI, then shame on the police for not taking, the call more seriously. Because they knew that Johnny and I have showed them enough proof that we're being terrorized. So they knew getting a phone call where I am shaking and hysterical and scared for my life. And this conversation goes on like I said, almost 10 minutes. And believe me, I taped it. Because there's gonna be a point where I become too...
Honey, we are all eyes. That's all I have to say.
There's gonna become a point where I'm too fearless, and that's when it gets dangerous. Because now the FBI knows I'm ticked off. I'm pretty sure that because they haven't done anything, even though the police said it's an FBI matter, and the FBI says, oh, it's a police matter. And, it's just a joke. No woman should be terrorized like this. And let's say, for argument's sake, it really was a homeless person. That doesn't mean I wasn't in danger. He was startled, whoever it was, as much as I was. So why was I hiding in the freezing cold, in the rain, with no jacket and fear of my life? And they're taking their sweet time to get to me. Yeah, okay, the police arrived at about 10 minutes. And that's in a small community, where, like I said, they all know who I am by now. And the scary part is that the police have told me, that they believe that I, do have a case against these cyber terrorists and all this. And they've admitted that they've called to try to set me up for crimes. And yet, they stay on the phone with me, 911, just talking, like so many questions when how many questions does 911 have to ask when someone's terrified, alone, hiding in the wilderness behind a giant tree stump and, and saying, my address, and and we don't technically live here, but let's just say it's my address where I'm working now, and I'm terrified. And it's like, oh my God. It took forever for the police to get here, because I would have been so dead if this person had not run off scared. Now, this is the 3rd time someone came on our property. They're aware of it. And the funny thing is, I don't even think a police report exists about this, but that's why, by God, I did make the tape public to some people I trust. And I don't care if it goes viral at this time, because in reality, first of all, I don't know why our cameras weren't working, because we do have cameras on the property. It's a mystery. But like everything in my life for the past 9 years of being targeted for blowing the whistle on CPS and dirty cops and winning 2 cases against cops illegally arrested me, I learned the hard way that this is no joke. This is a very dangerous situation. And when you have people contacting the FBI and writing the FBI and complaining to the police department and they're still like, we'll take that much time to make sure that no one's trying to kill her, how pathetic. So, yeah, maybe a little too gutsy, but I sure did record it, and I sure did make it public, and I have no problem making it a YouTube, because I am real tired of people not either facing the truth or refusing to face the truth or whatever it is, because there is such a thing as targeted individuals who are red flag, blacklisted, you name it, and anyone can do anything they want to them, and they cannot get help, and I'm one of them. I've proven it for years, but it's only gotten a lot worse since I filed a huge lawsuit basically in Texas against the police department and some of the big wigs and some of, I could go on, elected officials and blah, blah, blah. And ever since I filed that with the federal judge pro se, my life has been constant hell. Every day being terrorized and no one will do anything about it. All right, so I'm not used to being this sick. I think the trauma of getting my adrenaline so high that night and then the freezing cold and no jacket and, this and that definitely did a number on me. I mean, this is the longest I've laid in bed consistently, because what does this make? Don't hold me to it. I think 6 days. And, okay, so it ruined my Christmas, ha ha ha. The little stalkers are pleased to know that. But the truth of the matter is, in the end, justice will prevail. I mean, God forbid if I had died, I certainly threw some names out that should be suspects. Which is typical. I saw that this is what happens. My video will freeze up, and that's usually a sign that the hacker's in. And that's what I've noticed, that every time it does that, they got these, they have complete control over my publicity. And it's, I miss doing radio, but then I don't. Because all those years that I did radio, I was so targeted that I thought it couldn't get any worse. But I'll tell you what, filing a federal lawsuit against the Harris County Police Department and our mayor and chief of police, and I blew the whistle on CPS and many others in this lawsuit for the reason of why the police have been targeting me, organized corruption and crimes. Boy, was I not thinking, because that was very dangerous of me to do when I still didn't have a way out of Texas. Well, I can't say I regret it, but I definitely have my days where I'm like, I gotta get out of here. But they have me so distraught, and so is it indigent, it's like, oh, she can't leave now. We have her trapped in corruption, ha ha ha. The good old boys can take control of my mind and body, because I tell you what, this is major mental abuse, not to mention the physical abuse I've dealt with by the police department and others, but, God. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I mean, I just gotta get well. The main thing is I get my strength back. I showered today. It took everything out of me. And that was the first time I was able to get up. And I don't know. I got up Christmas about 30 minutes. That was it. But I'm pretty weak from all this. And I believe the 911 call that night, the terror that I went through, has my body completely just out of whack. Because that adrenaline was so hardcore that night. And I was so drained after it, and I've never gotten over that sensation of just complete, like, oh, I can't even explain it, like I've been hit by a bus. But, I'll recover like I always do, but no one should have to live this way. This is America. Since when are we allowed to be bullied and harassed by cyber stalkers and people taking my picture and disclosing my address, and I have to keep moving over and over for half a year now? And I'm going, really? Like, I mean, I don't know what else I can prove. So I got my 911 call public, fairly public, may go really more public, but definitely about, 15 people have a copy of it through my text messages. And, I don't know how far I want to go because obviously this battle now seems to be with the FBI because after all, why are they not doing anything when we supply them black and white proof of crimes? Not hearsay, like black and white proof that even the police said is an FBI matter. This is just a joke. They hate me. They hate me because I exposed them on radio for the truth. And they won't ever help me. Come on now. Now, if 100 of you called them today and tomorrow and every day, then maybe they'd be a little spooked to do something. But they're not afraid of little old me because after all, they had an over 100-page evidence site with actual evidence linked to it like you wouldn't believe. And I didn't even get a response from that. Next thing I know, it's off the internet everywhere, and they didn't do anything about it. And, cyber crimes is an FBI matter, and they don't ever do anything. Right now, I'm dealing with major cyber crimes. Major. Not just little misdemeanors. Major. And, it's kind of like, okay. I call the FBI with my witnesses of the stalking at my first day at work working on a TV show as a host and or assistant produce, whatever. I guess you could say assistant producer, whatever. And, I had witnesses and one of them called the FBI and it's like, what a joke. I mean, nothing works. Nothing. And it's part of being pretty much blacklisted, and there's no way anyone will ever change my mind. Do I believe if I was someone like, oh, don't get me started, one of the people I'm exposing, one of the big wigs that they call the FBI, do I believe this hate site would be public for the whole world to see where crimes are being committed? That site would have been off in 24 hours. I guarantee it. They've been aware of this stuff, and people have been contacting them, and it's almost like people just love it. But after all, I mean, when you expose the corruption as being as high as possibly some people in the FBI, you think they're going to be quick to save me? You think the police, when I'm suing them, are going to jump up and say, oh, let's help this girl. Let's help this poor girl. Heck no. I just went out of Texas. That's all. I don't have the money to leave. If anyone would make a donation that was enough to get out of here, I'd leave. Probably too sick at the moment, but I'd leave probably as quick as tomorrow. I'm done. I'm done with this vicious, brutal, corrupt, good old boy system. In Texas, for those of you that have never lived here, I've lived enough places or traveled enough places to know that this is the worst, most corrupted county I've ever been in, and that's Harris County. But it really goes to all the surrounding areas as well. Surrounding, I mean within an hour to 5 hours of Harris County. It's just terrible anywhere in Texas, and that's a fact. So right now, I just have to get better. That's it. I mean, I can't fight these, evildoers when I'm this sick. But I mean, I'm a little nervous that I went public with my 911 call. But at the same time, there's nothing illegal about it. And people need to really see that I'm telling the truth on how I'm treated. There's no way a woman by herself on 2 acres of land, afraid for her life with footsteps around her, there's no way that a call should have taken that long and help should have taken that long. Remember, this is a small community I'm in. The police station's like a 5-minute ride. I mean, it's ridiculous. All right, thanks.